Welcome back, everybody. We are the Video Store Junkies, and this is Q-Tips. And we are back to give you a few recommendations to watch on streaming over the weekend. And I will pass this over to Paul. No, I'm not, because Bill's going to have a segue. So I have to pass this to Bill.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a segue?
Well, the last time I screwed it up. So I got to pass it to you because then you can pass it to Paul
Gotcha.
and say
Then
whatever
I
you
can.
want.
Oh. Okay. Well, my film, my film for today is "God Told Me to," from the genius Larry Cohen, the late Larry Cohen,
Yeah.
the guy who made a lot of really cool low-budget movies, guerrilla filmmaking before it was easy to do that. I mean, back then you had to actually have a real camera and stuff. You couldn't just slip it on the subway. But he would do that. He just like you know God Told Me to opens with a scene that takes place at the St. Patrick's Day parade, where a guy goes crazy during the parade and everything. And he got Andy Kaufman, who plays this bit role, to dress up as a cop and just start walking with the police, and filmed it. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Well, stop me if you've heard this one before. It's about a cop who's investigating a series of murders by people who, get killed, but before they die, they whisper, why did they go on this killing spree? God told me to. And he gets deeper and deeper into it, and there's a satanic cult and mysterious virgin births. He begins to doubt his own, start asking questions about his own weird upbringing, and ends with basically it's hermaphrodite aliens who may have inspired religion in this. Who the hell knows what it's about? It's absolutely baffling. Man, Larry was one of those guys whose reach almost exceeded his grasp, but he would pull it off. He could, these could have been just schlock by the numbers movies, but he just gave it that extra stuff. Really good stuff. And this is just a bizarre, my theme for this week is horror science fiction. And this is one of them. This is one of those movies people watch it, and mostly when it's over, you just look at your friends and like, WTF, man, what do you think we just saw? So that is available on it's available on Shudder. And speaking of things that make me shudder, Paul. That's the best I got.
I want a second. God Told Me to. Great film. Anything by Larry Cohen pretty much is great. But definitely a good one. Well, mine's related to this week is a anniversary / birthday. Why it's of everyone's favorite big green guy, Godzilla, on I think it's November 3rd. So that's why I'm recommending a Gamera film. Gamera, for those of you who don't know, is sort of he's from a competing studio. Bill, do you remember what studio? It's not Toho, because that's Godzilla. Who's
I think it's I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I think it was TOEI, Toei.
Toei, yeah. So it's so Gamera, for those uninitiated, is a big giant turtle. That is friend to children everywhere. But I'm actually not going to recommend just one, but I'm going to recommend 3 films. And these actually, most people think of Gamera as like the really kind of cheesy, poor cousin to Godzilla, and they might recognize like the them getting riffed on MST3K and things like this. I'm not recommending those. I'm going to recommend the trilogy from the 90s. Gamera, Guardian of the Universe from 1995, Gamera 2, Attack of the Legion from 1996, and Gamera 3, Revenge of Iris from 1999. These are all playing on Amazon Prime, Tubi, and Pluto. And these are not your parents' Gameras. These are a bit more hard edge and just kick-ass Gamera, like blood and monster body parts and just it's a great hard-edged Godzilla. So I'm not Godzilla. What the hell? What did I just say? Hard-edge Gamera. Hard-edge Gamera. So which actually reminds me, back in my previous existence as a marine biologist, there was a organism called a Gamerid. I think it was an isopod. I can't remember. And the joke was, how do you know if you're looking at a Gamerid? He said, because there's a bunch of school children pointing at going, Gamerid, Gamerid. Anyway, it's funny if you're a marine biology student. Anyway, but forget that. Instead, just ignore my jokes. Go watch the Gamera trilogy on Amazon Prime, Tubi, and Pluto TV. These are the ones from the 90s. And speaking of of things from no, not from the 90s, because you're speaking of giant turtles, I'll
Yeah,
pass this to Renee.
turtles. Yeah,
What?
I love I
Yeah,
like turtles.
I like
Oh god.
turtles.
I
I'll
like
pass this to
Oh,
turtles.
Renee.
yeah, I like turtles. Um, okay, these kids are on vacation in Mexico, and they meet up with this guy who is looking for his brother who he hasn't heard from. He went to Mexico for this archaeological dig and he hasn't heard from him. So he went to go look for him and he runs into these kids and he's like, "Hey, why don't you come with me? It's off the map. Nobody really knows about it. I got to look for my brother anyway." And they go and things go a bit awry. Uh
Mm,
yes, it was an unforgettable holiday. This movie is called The Ruins.
Yay!
Do you like that movie?
yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Oh, it's
I
great.
just read the
Yeah.
book this summer too.
It's really interesting, and I feel like there's like so much more. Anyway, it's really interesting. It's on HBO Max, and here's a fun fact: it was directed by Carter Smith, and Carter Smith is coming out with a new movie this year. Although it may already be out, I can't find it anywhere online. It stars Mark Patton.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so he's doing
Very cool.
stuff. Yeah. And it also has Jenna Maloney, who was in The Ruins as well. So he must enjoy working with her.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah. So The Ruins, it's on HBO Max, and I'll pass this back over to Bill.
Continuing with my theme of horror science fiction. Okay, this one. Oh my God. Stop me if you've heard this one before. A guy is sent by a Christ like figure who looks just like Jesus if Jesus had Franco Nero's eyes to Earth because of this long, centuries long cosmic battle between this evil overlord who got into a fight with Yahweh, but he was defeated and killed, but he was able to transfer all of his spirit into the minds of humans. So basically, the extra goofy parts of Scientology.
Hmm.
Maybe this is where they got it from. I don't know. And okay, and then you've got this amazing cast of people. You've got oh man, wait a minute, John Huston, Shelley Winters, Sam Peckinpah, who's playing a character and apparently does such a bad job that they dubbed him. It's just amazing. This is The Visitor from 1979. It's directed by Giulio Paradisi, and it makes no damn sense whatsoever. There's an evil child who has psychic powers because apparently she is one of the children of Zatine, although I don't know exactly how that happens. And there's a young Lance Henriksen who's trying to have sex with her mom because I think he wants to give birth to a boy that can then have children with the daughter, her half, his half sister, and then they can have pure Zatine. I don't know. When I say a movie makes no sense, I've got a pretty long latitude of things. I'm willing to let things slide by. This movie makes no sense. It's got a cult following, and the people who love this movie say it's a little bit. It's kind of like got a little bit of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and it reminds me of The Omen, and a little bit of The Exorcist, and reminds me of Carrie and the Birds and the Lady from Shanghai, and it reminds me of the time someone slipped LSD into my Coca-Cola. This movie makes no sense at all. Saying that it reminds them of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, there's a scene where John Huston stares at a wall while a bunch of lights start bouncing around. And I guess, sure, in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, we had a lot of that going on, except it looked really cool. And this looks like people with different colored flashlights just shining them on a wall. This movie is terrible. So terrible. And my whole life, people have been telling me, oh, you got to watch The Visitor. It's really, And I finally did. And man, I don't get it. I guess I missed my chance. I should have watched it while under the influence of the aforementioned LSD. Maybe then it would have been entertaining and make sense. absolutely baffling. Just watch a really great cast. And he said, "Why are these people in this movie?" And then I read an interview, and it's like, "Well, I got to go to Rome for a couple weeks."
Ah.
And you know what? I approve. That's right. That makes perfect sense. Why not? The only thing is, they probably figured this movie is never going to get shown in the U.S. And yes, it is. John Huston, you're stuck with it. Woo! Anyway, if everything I've said makes you want to see it, and probably that was the effect, it is on Shutter and Tubi, and you just prepare to sit there with your mouth hanging open, waiting for it to make sense. Shauna was watching this with me and had things to do, but she stuck with me to the bitter end on the off
Oh.
chance that in the last 5 minutes they'd tie it all together and we'd be like, ah. And no, they didn't. We were just like, ah. So, yeah.
Oh.
Aha. The Visitor. Oh,
Man.
well. And speaking of disappointments, wait, is that Zach I smell?
If you could smell anyone on this podcast right now, it's probably me because I'm stewing in my own juices over here. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I'm assuming that was a transition to me, but so I'm just going to take it and run
sure.
with it. Well, so this week I actually have a theme. I don't always have themes, but I decided to do that one this week. And the theme this week is one of the most important things in my life, obviously, family,
Mm.
because we all love family. We all love Fast and Furious. We all love Garden. And it's very important to me. So I thought I'd maybe share a couple of recommendations of things about family. So my first recommendation is a TV show, and the name of the show is The Act, and it's really kind of a heartwarming show. It's about a woman and her young daughter. Her young daughter has a lot of health issues, but this woman, played by Patricia Arquette, is really just kind of dedicated to taking care of her kid and making sure that she has the best life she can and just, sacrificing a lot. It's really beautiful. It's really heartwarming. No, I'm just kidding. This is one of the most fucked up shows I have ever seen. I don't even want to tell you. I don't really want to tell you what it's about, but what I just said is actually accurate. It is about a woman with a young a teenage daughter that has a lot of health issues, and you can probably guess what it's about when I tell you that it's really fucked up. Phenomenal performance though by Patricia Arquette as the mom and Joey King as the daughter. And we recommend a lot of horror on here. We recommend a lot of scary stuff, obviously, because that's kind of our thing. But I am not exaggerating when I say this is probably the most disturbing thing we've ever recommended
Jesus.
on.
Really?
Yeah, I'm. Yeah. So, don't. It's about family. Maybe don't watch it with your family unless your family's all over a certain age. But yeah, it's pretty disturbing stuff. So, and I think it's. I actually haven't. I actually just finished watching it last night. I kind of binged it because I started watching it because it's co-created by Nick Antosca, who's been involved with a lot of stuff that I like. But I haven't actually gone and looked up. It claims to be based on a true story, which if it is, it makes it all the more disturbing. But I haven't actually done any
It
research
is.
on that. Oh, it is.
It
Oh, okay.
is.
So you're the expert,
Oof.
the act expert weighing in here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Renee. Yeah, so that's my recommendation. It's basically a mini series. I think it's 8 episodes, playing on Hulu. So go check that out. And things that speaking of things that are really I find really disturbing. I actually don't know who this needs to go to because I kind
Me.
of came in late here. So oh yeah, well that's perfect then. Yeah. Speaking of things that are really disturbing and probably not appropriate for family audiences, Paul, what do you got?
Well, my second film, my first three films were Gamera films, so a giant turtle. So how do we do one better? We go with a giant kappa, which a kappa, if you're familiar with, is a kind of Japanese a yokai, which is a demon goblin, but they're basically turtle demons. Normally they're kind of human size. This one eventually gets to spoilers kappa size. This is Death Kappa from 2010 and is currently showing on Tubi and Fandor. It is a Japanese film that is kind of essentially no, it is. It is a parody of kaiju films. It is weird. It is bizarre. It is very, 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 very silly. It's a very silly film. It also has some interesting cameos, like Hideaki Anno, who you might know from the creator and director of Neon Genesis Evangelion and Shin Godzilla
And
and
didn't he
his
break
Shin
up the
God.
Beatles?
Yeah, he did. And his Shin Godzilla co-director was it Shinji Higuchi, who also did the special effects for the Gamera films that I talked about. They have very goofy cameos in there. Um, there's at least one or two people from Ultraman, at least one of the many Ultramen shows. It is a very silly movie. It is weird. It is funny. It is by, I believe, the same folks who brought you Tokyo Gore Police. So if you're familiar with that one at all,
Oh
you may
wow.
have a
Okay.
general idea what to go into. Just a bizarre film, and again, this is one that I did show my son when he was 11. But it's not nearly as bad as Audition. Um, so yeah, there you go. It's Death Kappa playing on Tubi and Fandor. And talking about Neon Genesis Evangelion, I'll pass this to Renee.
This looks like Fraggle Rock compared to Audition, so I don't even know how you can compare the two. I will say though, I pull pictures for the YouTube site, and it's adorable. Oh my goodness! So now I'm gonna go watch me
Aw.
some Death Cap. All right. Anyway, my next recommendation is a foreign film. It is a Spanish found footage film, and
Ah,
it's yes,
I think I know where we're going.
Yeah.
yes. I suspect 2 other people do too because I already wrote it down in the recommendation list.
Uh,
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 um, so it starts with a reporter, and she is following a uh, crew of firemen around, and they report to a call. And soon, the building that they are reported to is sealed off, and all hell breaks loose. And it is it's good. It's good. I was looking at something and they're like, "Oh, this movie is so scary." And I started watching it and I was like, "Really? Okay. No, found footage. All right, whatever." But by the end I was like, "Holy shit." So, I'm glad I watched it during the day with all the lights on, considering I did watch it by myself cuz that's probably one of those movies that could easily freak me out a good bit. So yeah, it is called Wreck. And it
they've
is
made a bunch of them.
hold on, I'm so sorry. Alexa, stop. Oh my god, I'm
she
so
she thought you
sorry.
were telling her to record. She's like, "What
Right?
do you
Right.
want from me?" You
That's
Yeah.
said the
funny.
magic word. Can I
Right.
actually can I offer a second to that recommendation, that
You may.
recommendation? Although
uh,
can I also actually mention, because Bill said, they made a bunch of these.
Yeah.
Just stop at the first one.
yeah,
There's
agreed.
Oh,
nothing but disappointment after the first film.
oh,
Well,
oh!
the second one was
I
okay, but not
disagree.
not great.
Oh,
I think the others. Now, here's the thing.
Well, I haven't watched
Okay.
past the second one, but and
Well,
it
okay.
felt more like a
No.
video game to me. But
Yeah, yeah. The thing about Rec is you may make the terrible mistake of watching the American remake Quarantine. And
Oh.
Quarantine is strangely almost a shot for shot remake, and yet is terrible. Terrible.
Mm.
And commits what I think is the most unforgivable crime. Don't watch the trailer. If you're going to watch Quarantine, and first of all, don't. But if you're going to, don't watch the trailer, because the trailer shows you the end of the movie.
Oh my gosh.
The whole trailer builds up to this one shot, which is literally the end of the movie, and you'll be watching the movie realizing it's yeah, just
So it's like a short
words
film.
fail. Yeah, words absolutely fail.
Wow.
So anyway, it's terrible. So not Quarantine.
Let me actually go a step further, Bill, because not only do they show the last shot in the trailer, I think that's actually the movie poster. So don't even look at the movie poster.
Yes, you are
No.
Yeah.
100% absolutely correct. It is in fact the movie poster,
Yeah.
because these may be the dumbest people in Hollywood. Bold statement, but
Ah,
I think they are definitely in the running.
wow.
Mm. And
Wow.
there was a sequel, which I didn't. I just out of protest, I refused to watch any sequel to a movie that insults me that much. But
Wow.
Rec's solid. Rec is one of the best found footage movies you could ever watch. Good stuff.
I'd probably watch it again. Yeah, I really liked
Yeah.
the ending of it. Yeah, I suppose I should pass this to somebody. No, wait.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah,
think Zach's only had one, right?
yeah. So sorry, I get confused easily. Hey, so I'm gonna pass this over to Zach.
Oh, thank you. I guess I could have just kept talking there. So, okay, so we're coming off of the act. Obviously, you've binged that. You're thoroughly disturbed. You need something to kind of bring you down, and I got you. I got you. So my first recommendation there about a woman with who already kind of has a family, and let's just say some bad things happen there. But let's get a little bit lighter. How about a man who doesn't have a family, but he wants one, and he's gonna get one. Um, actually, I've probably already given away too much, so erase that from your mind because this is a film that going in is probably actually better. Actually, you know what? This is the film that's at the exact opposite of Quarantine because you could watch the trailer and still have no clue what it's about. So I probably just kind of ruined it a little bit. So I'm just gonna say the movie is Barbarian. Very
Ah,
uplifting comedy from one of the whitest kids you know, obviously. No, I'm just kidding. It is actually from one of the whitest kids you know, Zach Kreger, but it's definitely not a comedy. But it does have some dark humor in it. But it also has a lot of really creepy moments. I don't really get creeped out a whole lot watching movies anymore, but this movie definitely had some scares. It's got some of my favorite actors in it. It's got Bill Skarsgård, or as I said, earlier. We should just rename this guy to Bill Skarsgård at this point, considering how much horror he
oh,
does. Um,
I see what you
also
did
got
there.
got funny man Justin Long in an absolutely hilarious role, really lovable character. But I also got to say, I got to give it to again. I don't want to spoil anything here, but this isn't spoil anything. This is not spoiling anything major, I don't think. Or maybe it is. But I just want to say, Richard Brake is in this movie. And you just know, like, Richard Brake is one of those people, one of those actors. When he shows up, you know shit's about to get fucked up. So, and this movie does not disappoint. Anyways, once again, the name of the movie is Barbarian. I apologize to anyone who watches this and then comes back and says, "You ruined it for me. You spoiled it." I apologize. So, this one's on HBO Max. It actually just came on HBO Max, I think, last week. So, get it while it's fresh. And speaking of barbarians, I don't think I have anyone to pass this to, right? We're done. Is that
Yeah.
is that we're all done? Speaking of barbarians, let's listen to Paul sing.
Sing the Gamera song, Paul.
Oh yeah, yeah. Here we go. Here we go. Hey ho, hey, you got to go, 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 go,
Okay.
go, Gamera. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, you were cutting out. The computer was sparing us.
Lucky, you're lucky.
For the weekend of November 4th, Bill recommended God Told Me To, available on Pluto, Shudder, and AMC Plus, and The Visitor, available on Shudder and Tubi. Paul recommended Gamera, the 90s trilogy, available on Amazon Prime, Tubi, and Pluto, and Death Kappa, available on Tubi. I recommended The Ruins, available on HBO Max, and Wreck, available on Tubi. Zachary recommended The Act, available on Hulu, and Barbarian, available on HBO Max.